anybody's name. So please forgive me. Also, tomorrow is Saturday, which is a 64 round day. So we will begin our chanting at 1 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you would like to join, or you can join at your regular time. And we normally end around 10:30 a.m., 9.5 hours. In one sit, we chant 64 rounds by the mercy of the holy name and our Guru and Krishna and the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So let's read the Krishna book, which is so sublime to hear Krishna Katha. It's so pleasing to our mind and heart. So let's see where we left yesterday. Okay. So I will read the last sentence, which is very important. Instruction was given before we forget. It says that these are some of the many different processes for self-realization at Krishna mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita and attainment of perfection of life. But actually, they are only meant for realizing Krishna and dotelling oneself in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the last instructions of Bhagavad Gita also. Although there are descriptions of different kind of process of self-realization, at the end, Krishna recommended one should give up everything and simply surrender unto him by chanting the holy name. All other processes are meant for teaching one how to surrender ultimately unto the lotus feet of Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita also says that this surrendering process is completed by a sincere person executing the processes of self-realization in wisdom and austerity after many births. So if we have not yet created a sincere desire, we can see that we may have to go through other suffering in coming births before we'll realize that this is a place of suffering and everything what we see is temporary. So we continue now. Since this is the message of Krishna to the gopis delivered by his dearmost friend Uddhava. Since the perfection of such austerity was completely manifested in the life of the gopis, austerity must be performed. Today I send it out the wonderful message that Raghav Chaitanya Prabhu shared with us, that if we cannot perform austerity in this human form of life, living a sinful life, Haribol, and we will never become free from the suffering if we don't change the course of our life. Uddhava was fully satisfied upon seeing the transcendental position. He continued to say, my dear gopis, the mentality which you have developed in relationship with Krishna is very, very difficult to attain, even for the great sages and saintly persons. What a realization of Uddhava. You have attained the highest perfectional stage of life. It is a great boon for you that you have fixed your mind upon Krishna and have decided to have Krishna only in your life, giving up your family, home, relatives, husband, and children for the sake of the Supreme Personality. Because your mind is now fully absorbed in Krishna, the Supreme Soul, universal love has automatically developed in you. Universal love. You know, if you really want to love someone in the material world, It's impossible until you develop your loving relationship with Krishna. Then and then you can have a loving relationship. And we can see now the gopis, they have universal love automatically developed because they have re-established or they have the eternal relationship in unconditional love for Krishna. No conditions. I think myself very fortunate, Uddhava says, that I have been favored by your grace to see you in this situation. So this is also, Uddhava is so nice that he is relating us. So we should also feel the same way, fortunate because we also are listening. We can see these wonderful pastimes even within our vision. So when Uddhava said that he had a message from Krishna, the gopis were more interested in hearing the message than in hearing about their exalted position. This is what the great pure devotees, they don't want any glorification. They hate the glorification. They want to glorify everyone. That's their quality. And they see the good quality in everyone. That's another thing. Then you will be able to glorify someone. If you cannot see the good quality, how can you glorify that person? So we need to create that vision to see the good because everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. And Krishna has given and unique qualities to all of us individually that you cannot have it. So we should relish their association. They did not very much like being praised for their high position. They showed their anxiety to hear the message which Uddhava had brought from Krishna. So now Uddhava said, quote, "My dear gopis, I'm especially deputed to carry this message to you who are such great and gentle devotees. Haribol. Krishna has specifically sent me to you because I'm his most confidential servitor." Uddhava is very close in Dwarka, one of the closest devotees. The written message which Uddhava brought from Krishna was not delivered to the gopis by Uddhava, but he personally read it before them. It has very good impact. The message was very gravely written so that not only the gopis, but all empiric philosophers might understand how pure love of God is intrinsically integrated with all the different energy of the Supreme Lord. Each word for everybody is unique in that particular relationship. Krishna is so kind. From Vedic information, it is understood that the Supreme Lord has multi-energies, Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shuyate. Also, the gopis were such intimate personal friend of Krishna that while he was writing the message for them, he was also much moved and could not write distinctly. This is the feeling Krishna have for all of us. Uddhava, as a student of Bruhspati, had very sharp intelligence. So instead of handling over the written message, he thought it is wise to read it personally and explain it to them. Explanation is always required, That's why we see all the literature, the verse and the translation is little, but if we don't read the purport properly, we will not be able to understand the message. And that's why this great personality is showing us that example. then he will also not only read it, but he will explain because he understood the mood of Krishna and he can share that mood with the gopis. So Uddhava is continued. These are the words from the personality of Godhead. My dear gopis, my dear friends, please know that separation between ourselves is impossible at any time, at any place, or under any circumstances, because Krishna is all pervading. Haribol. So this all pervasiveness of Krishna is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, both in the 9th and 7th chapters. Krishna is all pervasive in his impersonal future. Everything is resting in him, but he is not personally present everywhere. In the 7th chapter also, it is stated that the 5 gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, and sky, and the 3 subtle elements, mind, intelligence, and ego, are all his inferior energies. But there is another superior energy, which is called the living entity. The living entities are also directly part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the source of both the material and spiritual energies. He is always intermingled with everything as cause and effect. Not only the gopis, but all living entities are always inseparably connected with Krishna in all circumstances, spiritually or materially by the modes of nature. That's his energy. Always connected. The gopis, however, are perfectly and thoroughly in cooperation in the relationship with Krishna. Thoroughly. That word is used, not sometime. In all circumstances. This is another thing we have to remember. Our devotion should not be slackened due to the external circumstances. Our devotion must be steady and fixed, no matter what happens externally. Even if we have so much pain in our body, or we cannot even chant, we can chant in the mind if we cannot pronounce due to some physical problem. But we should have our practice fixed, no deviation whatsoever. The gopis, however, are perfectly and thoroughly in cooperation in the relationship with Krishna, whereas the living entity under the spell of Maya are forgetful of Krishna. Arvind Prabhu must be listening that this is his energy. And they think themselves as separate entity having no connection with Krishna. It's not Krishna is telling them, but this is the choices that the living entity make in their life. Love of Krishna or Krishna consciousness is therefore the perfectional stage of real knowledge in understanding things as they are. Until we purified our consciousness, we won't be able to see the things as they are. We will get illusion, we will get bewildered by his external energy, unless we purified our existence by remain fixed in our devotional practice. Our mind can never be vacant. The mind is constantly occupied with some kind of thought, and the subject matter of such thought cannot be outside the 8 elements of Krishna's energy. One who knows this philosophical aspect of all thought is actually a wise man. And by being a wise man, what the next step he do in his life? He surrender unto Krishna. And the gopis are the typical example of this perfectional stage of knowledge. They are not simple mental speculators. Their mind are always in Krishna. The mind is nothing but the energy of Krishna. Actually, any person who can think, feel, act, and will cannot be separated from Krishna. But the stage in which he can understand his eternal relationship is called Krishna consciousness. The disease condition in which he cannot understand his eternal relationship with Krishna is the contaminated stage or Maya. Since the gopis are not on the platform of pure transcendental knowledge, their minds are always filled with Krishna consciousness. For example, as there is no separation between fire and air, so there is no separation between Krishna and the living entities. Krishna always so eager to see our sincere desire to go toward him. He's just watching us carefully. As soon as we do some austerity and show him dedication and sincerity, Krishna always shower his mercy to go closer and closer to him. But we need to start our move first because he has given us the free will. He don't want to force anything upon all of us. Even though he can slap us, in a moment he can take away our life. But he's so kind. He's giving us a free will. And that free will is really making us, putting in a horrible situation. Sometimes we feel that he should have not given us the free will, But then it's not called the love. Haribol. When the living entities forget Krishna, they are not in the normal conditions. See, even though we see so many examples, if you are not remain in your normal condition, which is the Juire Swarupa Hoy Krishna Re Nitya Das. If you go out of that boundary, not remaining as a servant of Krishna, no matter how wealthy you are, how strong you are, how knowledgeable you are, how famous you are, the detrimental path, we will fall down very quickly. We will become weakest of all, and everything will run over us. So we have to maintain the normal conditions, remembering, and that's why our Acharya said, bang 100 times shoes in the morning to remind what we need to do as a servant of God. Haribol. As for the gopis, because they are always thinking of Krishna, they are on the absolute stage of perfection in knowledge. The so-called empiric philosophers sometimes think that the path of bhakti is meant for the less intelligence. I have heard that, from these Mayavadis followers. You take up this bhakti because, you don't have proper intelligence. You come to us, listen our philosophy, but you need to be intelligent enough to understand. So many, like my good friend Arun Kothari, he hate now, Chimyanand Mission. And he said, I wasted my life. He was attending Chimyanand Mission for many times. And they said, now I can see how proud these people are. They present themselves so that they know Krishna very well. And they present in a different way than what Krishna present himself in Bhagavad Gita. Still they use the same scripture. And people are so fallen, they get into the trap. They feel, oh, these people are giving so wonderful philosophy. I haven't gone. I was somehow or other by the Guru and Krishna mercy. I never been attracted to different than ISKCON. So that was something. But people get realized. But then he said, I don't want to hear your discourse. Arunbhai told, the leader of the Chimya mission. Show me your devotion to Krishna. They don't worship Krishna. They just speak about Krishna to make the business, to make them famous. And they speak so eloquently, and people give them a chance, even on the stage, on Janmashtami and all the big days. Haribol. The blind man lead the blind man like this. The world is running like this. But unless the so-called men of the knowledge come to the platform of bhakti, his knowledge is certainly impure and imperfect. That's what they say. Actually, the stage of perfecting one's eternal relations with Krishna is loving separation. But that is also illusory, because there is no separation. The gopis never separated from Krishna. Even from the philosophical point of view, there was no separation. How can we see that? They're constantly thinking about Krishna. Before they meet, they contemplate. They are going to do this. Oh, when I meet with Krishna, I will do this, I will do this. When they meet Krishna, they realize, they capture all these images, how Krishna is smiling, how sweet word he used. They remember everything. And then when they lose this association, they contemplate everything what they have seen while they were with Krishna. So how they can forget Krishna? Never. So the cosmic manifestation is also not separate from Krishna. Nothing is separate from me. The whole cosmic manifestation is resting on me and is not separate from me. Before the creation, I was existing. This is confirmed in the Vedic literatures. Before creation, there was only Narayan. There was no Brahma and no Shiva as the assistants. The whole cosmic manifestation is manipulated by the three modes of material nature. Brahma is the incarnation of quality of passion. It is said that the Brahma created this universe. Brahma is the secondary creator. The original creator is always Narayana. This is also confirmed by the Sankaracharya. Narayana Paro Vyaktat. Narayana is transcendental beyond this cosmic creation. So Krishna, who creates, maintains, and annihilates the whole cosmic manifestation by expanding himself in different incarnations. Everything is Krishna and everything is depending on Krishna. But he is not perceived in the material energy. Material energy is called Maya or illusion. In the spiritual energy, however, Krishna is perceived at every step, Haribol, in all circumstances, not at every step. Our Acharya Prabhupada so wonderfully explained, in all circumstances, Sukhe Dukhe, or whatever the circumstances may come, never wants to give up the sadhana or the loving service toward Lord Sri Krishna. That's the life. This perfectional stage of understanding is present in the gopis. As Krishna is always aloof from the cosmic manifestation, although it is completely dependent on him. So a living entity is also completely aloof from his material conditional life. The material body has developed on the basis of spiritual existence. And that's why, as long as we have the soul in the body, we can feel, we can speak, we can see. As soon as the soul leaves the body, it has no value. Even your closest relative don't want to keep that body. And we feel so proud of our body. In the Bhagavad Gita, the whole cosmic manifestation is accepted as the mother of the living entities, and Krishna is the father. As the father impregnates the mother by injecting the living entity within the womb, so all living entities are injected by Krishna in the womb of material nature. They come out in different bodies according to the different fruitive activities. You know, one father has two sons or three sons. Everyone is different. So we are bringing the bundle of this reaction with us. And only thing is we are doing is reaping of good and bad, whatever we did in the previous life. So, but if he wants to become happy, take control of your life. Don't live a sinful life. So then there is no suffering. Then we will be able to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra nicely. So all the living entities are injected by Krishna in the womb of the material nature. They came out in a different bodies according to the different fruitive activities they have performed. In all circumstances, the living entity is aloof from this material conditional life. Haribol, in all circumstances. But we have the misfortune of the living entity because we have been identified with this body more than the soul. That's the problem. So the result is that if we simply study our own bodies, we can understand how a living entity is always aloof from this bodily engagement. Every action of the body is taking place by the interactions of the three modes of material nature. You know, like whenever I read this prominent example come right in front of my eyes. The dog is walking underneath the bullock cart, and the dog feel I'm carrying all the load, but he doesn't know that he's not carrying anything. You know, so we also feel like that we are the doer of our activity. With the false ego of the spirit soul, they think themselves as a doer of the activity. But in reality, these actions are performed by the influence of three modes of material nature. So we are acting, we are smiling, we are moving is nothing but the result of this, what we perform activity through the influence of modes of nature. We don't want to be angry with our relative. Why we become angry? Ask yourself. Do you have any control? No. The modes of nature is acting upon us. And we have to become free from the modes of nature. Then you will see you will never become angry on anybody. Who you are to become angry with anybody. Give up that false pride and accept that you are the servant of Krishna in all circumstances. And if you remain in that mood, we will be always happy. Haribol. One can neither create nor annihilate nor interfere with the action of material nature. Look at this sentence. We have no control. We are just a puppet, like in a puppet. So the man behind the curtain using his finger tied with those string, pulling the string, and we see the puppet is dancing. So our life is like this. Somebody is pulling the string and we are dancing and we feel happy. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Haribol. So every action of the body is taking place. Oh gosh, it's 7 o'clock. Sorry. Somebody should always remind me because once we get into the discussion about the Krishna Katha, I normally wants to remain punctual. So thank you very much. And I really apologize to take your 5-minute extra. The devotees has to perform the duty. They are welcome to leave. And before you leave, let me offer my humble obeisances at the desk of these wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who take so much austerity to come and join and support all of us from New Hampshire, Aurora, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Cottonelle, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Phoenix, Tempe, Austin, College Station, San Jose, Portland, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Baltimore, Baton Rouge, Alachua, Orlando, Jacksonville, Ohio, St. Louis, Loganville, Georgia, San Diego, Alaska, Maine, Ottawa, New Orleans, Laguna Beach, California. Mataji's, I will have to check from Yashoda Mataji from Vancouver. She's not joining. Hope she's in good protection by Krishna. Toronto, Kolkata, New Delhi, Houston, Fresno, Texas. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So thank you very much, and I'm really sorry to hold you up for extra 5 more minutes today. Somehow or other, I don't know, I didn't look at the screen and keep on going through reading. It was an interesting topic to realize that actually we are puppet in the hand of Krishna. We have no independence. It's little free will is there, that's all. But we are tied down with the 3 ropes and they are pulling the string and we dance and we feel, oh, I'm doing this. This is a really, really far out message that Krishna has given us. So those who wants to hang around with us for 1 more hour, we can relish the holy name in the association of devotees, the perfect way. Raghav Chaitanya Prabhu, I was texting him and he wrote me, Prabhuji, let me see what he wrote. He is so kind to me. He wrote me,